Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. Hi Shaswan, hi Khyber, hi Lydia, hi Tamonish, Tomisi, nice to see many of our regular students. Hi Amanjat. In this class, everyone, we are looking at speaking part 3, the more challenging questions related to the topic of part 2. The speaking is made up of 3 parts. The speaking interview takes about 15 minutes, and you are asked some general questions in part 1, then there's a cue card, and then part 3 are some more specific questions about society, life, and so on, the environment. Hi Ois, hi Carolina, nice to see all of you in the class. Again, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, definitely visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. And again, students, this is a speaking class, so make sure to speak and repeat both answers and questions. Also download our apps, Academic IELTS Help. You can link the app to the website, and General IELTS Help to gieltshelp.com to really get a great learning experience. If you have questions, don't be shy. Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly answer your inquiries. Our websites look like this. This is the academic website at aehelp.com. This is the general one here, gieltshelp.com. Both websites have original practice tests, lesson videos, and an interactive course, and free speaking with other students. You log into your My Student account, and in your My Student account, you will find this student partner speaking. I'll darken this up a bit so it's not quite so bright. Okay, so you have the student partner speaking. You click on that student partner speaking and then accept the terms, and it will open up another page where you'll find some users usually waiting. We have Faisal in here waiting for someone right now, and then you can connect with video, audio, and text chat to other IELTS students. So make sure to use that, okay? That's available on both websites, and it's absolutely free, okay? If it doesn't work for you right away, don't give up. Try different students. Be patient. All right, so everyone, about 30 minutes ago, we completed a part 2 speaking class on a cue card. That cue card was about an item or an object that you made yourself for a family member or a friend. And our members and we agreed that we'll talk about a painting that we created for our dad's 50th birthday party. So let's go over our part 2 response. Okay, so this is the answer to the cue card. Talk about an object. What did you need to make it? How did the family member feel about it? So these were the questions on the card. That's right, Axe, it was a painting of a horse, or my father riding a horse for his birthday. Okay, Khyber said, I watched it. Good, so good for those students who watched it. Let's warm up our speaking, so let's build a little bit of fluency. I'm going to go over the response and repeat after me. If you have some good English skills, don't read, just do it from listening to me. If you feel like you need a little bit more help, then read with me, okay? All right, here we go. An object that I made for a loved one a couple of months back is an oil painting of my father for his 50th birthday. This painting is oil on canvas, portrait orientation, about 80 by 40 centimeters in size. I used a lot of bright and happy colors such as red, yellow, blue to create a really nice positive composition depicting my dad riding a horse. In fact, I created the painting from a real moment that was captured on film back when my father was on a date with my mom. This day, horseback riding is a very special moment in the past, so I decided to paint it. It took me about 12 hours from start to finish, and I had made it in my garage studio at home. I both bought some of the art supplies and ordered some off of Amazon. When my dad unwrapped this painting on his birthday, he got really emotional and teary-eyed. He gave me a big hug and a kiss. I was hoping that he would hang this painting in the living room or in his bedroom, but to my surprise, he actually hung it up in his office so that he could see it every day when he was working, and it could make him really, really happy. He was really grateful, and I felt really satisfied that he appreciated the painting for both its beauty and its sentimental value. So this was an object that I had made by hand, and it had brought a lot of joy to my family. Okay. All right. So that was the end of it. And again, the way that you can remember all of this and structure all of this is by knowing the elements that you have to include in your Part 2 speaking and visualizing. Okay? All right. Okay, everyone. So that was Part 2. And now the examiner will say, okay, your 2 minutes are up. Please stop, give back the cue card, the note paper, the pencil, and now we will continue with Part 3. For Part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of Part 2. As soon as you hear that, you have to remember that you need to make connections between Part 2 and Part 3 ideas. What else should you think about? Okay, so when you hear the examiner say, now I will ask you, so they'll say, now, let's do this a little bit differently. Now, I will ask you some questions related to the topic of Part 2. Let's talk about. Okay, so as soon as you hear this, you should remember that, okay, I need to make connections to my Part 2 answer. Okay. What else should you remember? Also, what else should you remember? Yeah, Swaranjit, we're going to talk about those difficult Part 3 questions today. Kyber says, remember to be detailed. Yeah, that is important, but there's another piece of information that's really important. And Rajveer, very good. Good, attentive learning, Rajveer. You very often give me the right answers. Hats off to you. Okay, you're very studious. Good for you. So Rajveer says, don't forget about the other options that you jotted down during the planning. Yeah, Bekjan says, the ideas that you gave for Part 2. Yeah, so also remember the other ideas that you came up with for Part 2. Okay, so the example, PowerPoint for brother. Okay. Cake for mother. Dollhouse for daughter, or it could be sister or brother if you're a bit younger and you're not quite married or not a parent yet. Okay. So remember the other ideas that you came up with, because they will be useful for your Part 3 answers. Okay. All right, so the examiner then says, let's talk about handmade items. Okay? Let's talk about handmade items. And then comes the first question. What are some things that people make by hand and not machines? Okay? So right away, those other ideas that you had will become very useful. Okay. All right. Amanjat says, while there are a lot of things that a person can make by hand, like photo frames, sceneries, cards, toys, that one can give to a loved one to show gratitude. All right, Amanjat, don't use the word etc. Okay. You would never actually say etc. in a conversation. That's just awkward. And Amanjat, instead of the word things, use a better noun. So even though the question uses the word things, change the word things into items, gifts, objects, valuables. Okay, so there are a lot of other words that just sound much better than the word things. They're more specific, they show more lexical resource. Okay, so work on that. Okay, work to avoid the word things. Roshni Kunte, the most common items that individuals prepare are paintings that I mentioned. Apart from that, photo frames, birthday cakes for family members, because they feel satisfied. Just the other day, my friend made a delicious chocolate cake for my birthday. Yeah, very good, Roshni. Nice use of part 2 answer. Good use of the other ideas and making that connection. It's really clear, fluent, high band answer. Okay, that's how you do it. That's the trick. That's the strategy. Okay. Lydia says, well, there are several means to achieve a custom look by handmade. Instead of using appliances, people can create different handmade products like paintings and accessories, as well as wooden toys. My mother's friend is specialized in handmade crafts, particularly jewelry. Very nice, Lydia. Nice examples. Bekjan says, in my opinion, objects made by hand, not by tools, are food, presents, and paintings, as I just mentioned. These items usually require people to put in more effort and spend their time, right? Very good. Hassan says, many items can be created at home without machines intervention, such as my father's painting, which I explained, a small vase for flowers, a tiny fountain in the garden. These items can take only a few hours to finish. Last week, I created a fountain in my garden made of wood and stone. Very nice, Hassan. Yeah, I love those Japanese fountains where you have the bamboo that's kind of tilting back and forth with the water flowing through it. I wonder if maybe that's what you created. Carolina says, definitely, there are items that individuals can still make by hand instead of using machines, such as bracelets, cakes, dolls, and paintings like the painting of my dad I just mentioned, because as humans, people like to express their emotion and feelings through their hands and by being creative. Very nice, Carolina. These are your high band answers. So students that have been with me, many of our members, for some time now, you're doing a really fantastic job. Your English is truly becoming not only high level, but it's becoming very good communication. So Carolina, that would be the very good communication by any standard, native speaker or non-native speaker. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're practicing lots, as you're doing right now in this class, and you're using it. So speak lots, work on your fluency so you can come up with these ideas quickly and be fluent with them. And you're doing a fantastic job, everyone. You really are. You're making me very, very proud. Okay. Pia says individuals can make scrapbooks, earthly items like dolls, as well as oil paintings that I mentioned earlier. All of these demand cordial effort as well as an awful lot of time. Okay, nice, Pia. I like your natural use of language. Well done. Okay, nicely done. Okay, very nice, students. Very nice. So here we go. There are several items that are handmade aside from birthday gifts, like the painting for my father, or a simple card, perhaps a chocolate cake. People can make both art and tools by hand. Just the other day, I made a special shovel to plant flowers in my garden. Okay, so kind of taking a page or two from some of your books. Here we go. This is my answer. What are some things that people make by hand and not machines? Okay, here we go. There are several items that are handmade aside from birthday gifts like the painting for my father or a simple card, perhaps a chocolate cake. People can make both art and tools by hand. Just the other day, I made a special shovel to plant flowers in my garden. And then I can build even more fluency using a branch from a tree and a piece of metal that I found in my garage. Okay. All right, and then comes the follow-up question. So always be ready for these. The important process in part 3 for the IELTS exam is they're looking for detail. So they want depth in part 3. That's one of the most important aspects of part 3 in the exam, is to reach for depth. So to create more detailed and intimate conversation. Okay, so the follow-up question here is this always true? So in this case, what the examiner would be referring to is this always true that these items are made by hand and not by machines? Okay, so is this always true? Natalie, a shovel, something that we use to dig. Okay. All right. Hassan says, I don't think it's always true because some objects are quite complicated to create and need a lot of machines to make them. Yesterday, I wanted to create a homemade chair made of reusable wood, but I couldn't do it without a skill saw. Okay, careful, Hassan, those machines have special names. It's not a saw machine, it's called a skill saw. A skill saw, screwdriver, and other tooling machines. Pachu says, yes, most of the time people are better than machines in many ways, like they know the taste and flavor depending on a person's desire. Aslia, the next lesson, Aslia is just asking when the next live lesson will be. Aslia, the live lessons start on Wednesdays, okay? So Wednesday at this time will be the next live lesson. And then it goes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right, thanks for asking that, Aslia. Okay, so for all of you who are viewing, no lesson Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but then Wednesday to Saturday, there's always lessons at this time. Okay. Ois says, I think it's not necessary for success because every kind of work requires a lot of professional knowledge and skills. Ois, I'm not quite clear how that responds to this question of, is this always true? All right, Begjan says, no, not really, because using new advanced technology can make the best versions of these items. These days we can find a variety of presents in the store, like toys, electronic items, even paintings that are made by machines. Right, Bekjan? Very good. So nice answer, Bekjan. That's what the question is looking for. Naren says, that depends on the situation. It cannot always be true. At some time before, I want to make a ninja star, but I have to have the help of some machines. For instance, a metal saw and a special screwdriver. Yeah, throwing star. It's a ninja star, Naren, but the ninja star is called a throwing star. Throwing star. Okay, ninja star is okay. Throwing star is more common. like the little bat wing that Batman throws. Okay, Reju says, not always, but in most cases, these items are handmade. That said, now everything has become commercial and manufacturing a large amount of products for people so that they don't actually need to do it themselves, but they can use the help of technology. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, Reju, nice fluency. A couple of corrections there, so pay attention to that. No, this is definitely not true in every case, as all of the items I had just mentioned are more often made by machines than not. I would say that only 1 of every 10 birthday cards I receive are made by hand. The rest are all printed and sold by Hallmark, a big card manufacturing company. All right. Here's my answer. I want to highlight a piece of grammar here for you as well. So is this always true? No, this is definitely not true in every case, as all of the items I had just mentioned, when you reflect back to a point that you stated previously in your speaking, very nicely use this past perfect I had just mentioned and actually put emphasis here. Okay, so put a stressor there. I had just mentioned are more often. Why? Because you kind of really want to hang it on the examiner's nose that you're able to use past perfect accurately. And this is a very elegant and quick way to show that past perfect and also create more linking and coherence between your answers. So that's one really good reason to make that connection. And now you're also showing, of course, what's called grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, so as all of the items I had just mentioned are more often made by machines than not. Here's a nice expression, more often than not. Remember that one. That's a nice natural expression. More often than not, this is true. Or more often than not, this is the case. Okay, it's often used. Okay. All right, Phoenix, you are very, very welcome. I'm glad that you're learning lots from the classes. That's fantastic. I'm always working hard to throw some new vocabulary and expressions in there for you. So hopefully everybody is picking up something new in each class. Absolutely. Okay. All right, so let's keep going here. To the next question we go. Let's have a look at it here. How are handmade objects better than those made by machines? So here's one. Ramendra, when I catch it, I'll read it, all right? 180 students in the class. It's tough to catch everyone. All right, and so how are handmade objects better than those made by machines? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. Roshni says, that's an interesting question. Handcrafts, which are made by people, are generally stronger, more reliable than those made by machines, such as a dollhouse made by my friend Kate. She double-coated the sheets, which is just not available with store-bought dollhouses. Okay, Roshni, nice use of the example there. Seni Surani says, when we prepare manually, this produces more delicious meals than those made by machines, though food processors can simplify the cooking process and save time. Seni, don't answer the follow-up question yet. You haven't been asked that question yet. So just answer the primary question, which is, how are handmade objects better than those made by machines? Okay. Carolina says, from my point of view, handmade items have more dedication and thus more love. My grandmother used to sew my doll's clothes, and I really appreciate them more than if they were made in a factory. Okay. All right. Very good, Carolina. You should try to think of at least 2 points, and then you can use a correlative conjunction like not only, but also. This is one of those typical kinds of questions where you should get a little light bulb going bing in your head that says, hey, wait a second, if I can think of 2 reasons why handmade objects are better than machine-made objects, then I can use one of these correlative conjunctions like not only are handmade items better because of this, but also because of this. Okay. Amanjad says, well, objects made by hand have more value for the recipient because the person spends more time making it, and ultimately it becomes a more sentimental gift. Okay, sentimental or sentimental value. Remember that word, students. All right. Sunny Rajput says, homemade items will always be better in order to express people's love and affection. Good start. Keep going. Okay, give some more information there. Right? Karamjeet says, it's an interesting question. A long time ago, where gifts were more handmade, all of them had so much love in them, and it was a good way to express our affection towards other people. All right, Karamjeet, I had to do a lot of adjusting there just to make sense of the grammar, so be really careful with your grammar. Your idea is good, but you need to be much more careful with grammar. Okay, Yoran says, well, I'd say that when an object is handmade, it's far more special, especially when it's made by someone a person loves. Yoran, avoid you. In this case, it's kind of okay, but just as a general rule, Yoran, in your communication, avoid the word you, especially when you're in the IELTS interview or when you are in a professional conversation of sorts, such as a job interview. Don't use the word you, students, okay? That could be a big help to get a job and be selected instead of somebody else. Don't use the word you, okay? Be professional. Use other pronouns, people, individuals, colleagues, parents, family members, all right? There's always some better noun in these contexts that's more accurate. All right. Lepe Yan says, handmade items are often more unique and special, especially something that was designed in a blink of flow. It may better match the recipient's taste. In addition, it contains a lot of love. Lepe, not bad. Blink of flow, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not familiar with the expression blink of flow. Perhaps it's my Canadian culture. Maybe it comes from Kiwi, Aussie, Brit. But I'm not familiar with it. Just be really careful that whatever idiomatic language you use, it does make sense for your examiner. That would be confusing for me, for sure. Okay. All right. So I would answer this something like this. So objects that are made by people's own 2 hands are not only better in many cases because they are of higher quality, but also because they are unique. My uncle made a very special silver ring for his wife, and it is both one of a kind and will stand the test of time for sure. All right, so here's my answer. Take a look, repeat after me, and then I'll explain it a little bit. So how are handmade objects better than those made by machines. For this kind of question, again, that light bulb should go off where you're thinking, okay, there's probably a couple of ways that handmade objects are better. Traditionally, handmade objects such as furniture can often be much higher quality than when it's machine made. And of course, one of the big advantages is they are unique. And I think some of you, like Lepay, picked up on that, is they're original. You don't just have one of 100,000, but you have one of one, which makes it just so much more special. Okay. So how are handmade objects better than those made by machines? Objects that are made by people's own two hands are not only better in many cases because they are of higher quality, but also because they are unique. My uncle made a very special silver ring for his wife, and it's both one of a kind and will stand the test of time for sure. So there's a very commonly used idiomatic expression, to stand the test of time. Stand the test of time. How could we say that in one word in English? What is the vocabulary for stand the test of time? Starts with a D. Let's see if somebody can pick out my thoughts. Yeah, Puiti, very good. Nicely done, Puiti. I think you were the first one who answered that. Durable. Yeah, durability or durable. Okay. To stand the test of time means that it's durable. Okay, the other word that you should pick up here, I didn't use it in my answer, but is very useful for this, is sentimental. It's a collocation. Okay, so remember this collocation, sentimental value. Sentimental value means to have much emotional value. Okay, with memories attached. Okay, so that's sentimental value, sentimental value. Okay. All right, fantastic. Everybody's doing great. I can just feel your brains working, your neurons firing, and you are becoming more adept in the English language and communication. Here we go. Next question. How are machine-made objects better? So that's the follow-up, right? Why not? This will often be the case in the part 3 questions, where if they ask one side and it's possible to ask the other side, then they'll do that. So how are handmade objects better? Okay. How are machine-made objects better? All right. Okay. So Lydia says, inversely, factory-made merchandise provides precision, predictability, and reassurance compared to handmade products. It saves much time while working to give more accurate details and appearance. Although my mother's friend is a jeweler, she sometimes tends to use machine-made items or jewelry in order to save time and produce around 22 to 30 silver and gold rings daily. Very nice, Lydia. I liked how you kind of built off of my example there and made that connection. That's very good. Pachu says, well, machine-made objects are better because they are produced in bulk and not defective for the customers, which in turn increases the economy of the company. Pachu, it's a little bit subjective to the point where I'm having a hard time following exactly what you mean. Like, how are they better than handmade objects? I don't quite get what you're saying. Okay, I know you have some ideas there, but it's not clear. It's murky. It's unclear. Okay. Remember, students, that in part 3, okay, you want to be crystal clear, not kind of clear, but you want to be crystal clear. In part 3, work hard to be crystal clear. If anybody saw that movie from the 90s called A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, then you'll know exactly what what I'm referencing here with crystal clear. Are we clear? Crystal. Okay, you want to be crystal clear with your answers. You do not want to leave any kind of doubt or confusion in your examiner's minds. That's really important to get that high band score. Okay, so be crystal clear. Nick Hill Pace says, well, items made by machines are both quite accurate and precise. Moreover, it saves time. Okay, Nick Hill, not bad, but being accurate and being precise is the same. Students, don't double up on your answer. Okay, it's still the same answer. If it happens, don't panic. Don't be like, oh, what I meant to say was, no, it's okay, it's fine. We sometimes do that, but then try to add something extra, right? So if you say machine made goods are precise and accurate, you really haven't said anything different. Precise and accurate are the same word, okay? So do not double up with synonyms in your speaking or writing, okay? So pay attention not to double up on your ideas with synonyms in your speaking and writing, okay? It's awkward. It's awkward in communication, and it's not considered good writing in the academic and professional spheres. Is that clear? Everybody good on that? So when you're reviewing your essays, when you're reviewing your speaking, and you think, oh, wait a second, precise, accurate, it's kind of the same. I just need to use one of these, so take one out, okay? All right? So don't double up. Always say different ideas if you're going to say, okay? All right, Carolina says, these days machines are precise and accurate. So Carolina, same thing, in measurements in comparison to handmade objects. Machines can automate processes, creating a better productive industry like cars. It's difficult to put together Ferrari's parts without using a machine. That's true. However, it's interesting, Carolina, Ferrari's actually, much of it is handmade. Okay, so here we go. It's not purely machine, right? Because it's not black and white. So certain things like Ferrari, it's both man and machine working together, as opposed to like a Ford Focus where it really is mostly just a machine making it. All right, so you can say machine-made goods are precise and accurate. And the way that you can kind of avoid that repetition, if you have done this, is you can say, and they tend to be cheaper because of mass manufacturing and requiring less human effort. It is difficult to imagine buying a smartphone that is made by hand, and if such an item did exist, I'm sure it would cost a small fortune. Okay, so machine-made goods, yeah, there are definitely a few aspects that are better about machine-made goods than handmade objects. There are machines now that do some very precise work, which would be virtually impossible by human hands. I never say impossible, but virtually impossible by human hands. One that kind of immediately comes to mind is a smartphone. Can you imagine trying to create a smartphone by traditional tools? That would be quite the task. And if somebody did take 10 years of their life to somehow create a smartphone by hand, they would probably ask like $1 million for it. So that's my answer there. All right. Repeat after me. How are machine-made objects better? Machine-made goods are precise and accurate, and they tend to be cheaper because of mass manufacturing and requiring less human effort. It's difficult to imagine buying a smartphone that is made by hand, and if such an item did exist, I'm sure it would cost a small fortune. Okay, let's keep going. Next question. Where can people purchase quality handmade merchandise? So where can people purchase quality handmade merchandise? Okay, give me a nice full sentence answer for that question. All right. Roshni says, as far as I know, folks can buy handcraft commodities online and offline, like through Amazon. There are handcrafts sold by companies, namely Handmade Gifts, as well as people can physically buy them from local mom and pop shops, okay, or their local market. Good. Yeah, Roshni, I know you ran out of space there, so you were going for a bit more there. All right. Sausan Radi says people can buy quality handmade merchandise from designated tourist places such as popular markets. Nearly everything there is original, like handmade masks by local artisans. Okay. So Sausan, give a little bit more information there, go into a little bit more detail. All right. Hassan says, I think people find and purchase such merchandise at local markets. Each time I go to my local market in Baghdad, I want to buy a token for Babylonian or Mesopotamian and put them in my office. Okay, I'm not sure what the token is, Hassan, but I'm guessing it's some handmade object. Is it like a handmade metal or coin or something like that? You might have to explain that a little bit more. Okay. Milan Kapoor says quality handmade merchandise can be easily procured, not produced, Milan, procured. Procure means to buy. So quality handmade merchandise can be easily procured from physical stores or through online companies like Amazon and Pepperfry. Okay, and what did you buy from there that's handmade? Okay, so give me a bit more information. Okay, so shoppers can procure quality handmade crafts from galleries or the local market. I bought a beautiful rag doll for my daughter at the local market, which was made by an elderly lady who was the same person that actually sold it to me. Okay. All right. So again, repeat after me. Question and answer. Students, be really careful to practice questions as well as answers. So don't just practice answers. It's really important to practice the questions as well. Where can people purchase quality handmade merchandise? Shoppers can procure quality handmade crafts from galleries or the local market. I bought a beautiful rag doll for my daughter at the local market, which was made by an elderly lady who was the same person that actually sold it to me. Okay. All right. Can you elaborate? Now, this is where a lot of students get stuck. They're like, well, I just told you my answer and my example, so what more can I say? There's always something more that you can say, so add more details, okay? So can you elaborate? All right? Can you elaborate? All right. Lydia says, yes, certainly. A multitude of handmade goods are ubiquitous where people can both purchase the private space, like a shopping center, or even selling from home through the internet. Very nice, Lydia. That's some nice elaboration. Coming after Lydia, I can't read the Cyrillic, but I can read the answer. In my opinion, People can find high quality handmade merchandise on popular websites. It could be even cheaper than materials that are spent to make it at home. Okay, little bit of grammar confusion at the end, so be careful about that. All right. Vibwab Servaz says, it is said that the use of complicated vocabulary words reduce your score in IELTS speaking. Is it true? Yes, if it's used awkwardly and incorrectly, Vibhub. So using complex vocabulary incorrectly, which I've seen in both the writing and speaking, will definitely reduce your score because your coherence score is hurt brutally. Okay, so your coherence score really goes down if you use complex words in an awkward way. Okay, so Ramendra says, we can easily get these handmade crafts or items. For instance, there are so many campaigns which are set up by visually challenged people that produce handmade products for collecting for charity. Okay, Ramendra, not bad. Yeah, I follow you absolutely. So there are a lot of different handmade items sold for charity. Absolutely. And it's a nice elaboration. Just make sure that you have some good grammar. And Rajveer says, yes, definitely. Art exhibitions are organized more these days, and people can find handmade objects online as well as due to the advancement of technology. Yeah, sure. Sunny Rajput says, yeah, when I purchased this wooden Ganesha for my sister to give it to her, and I found this product really authentic because it's made by some of the craftsmen that put a lot of effort into it. Okay, Rajput, nice answer, nice elaboration. Again, just pay attention to grammar, all right? So can you elaborate? Yes, of course. There are retail spaces which specialize in selling handmade goods because of the reasons I discussed earlier, that they are original and unique. In fact, there are even many virtual stores that sell such goods. Okay, fantastic. So again, can you elaborate? Always say more, always give a bit more information. Yeah, of course. There are retail spaces which specialize in selling handmade goods because of the reasons I discussed earlier, that they are original and unique. In fact, there are even many virtual stores that sell such goods. All right, and then as long as you're doing a good job, the examiner will continue with some more questions. So the examiner will say, let's talk about gifts. And then they'll have 3-4 more questions to ask you about gifts and really dig deep to see whether you're a band 8 or a band 9 level student and check your fluency. These questions, practice on your own or practice with other students. Record your answers on your phone, listen back, make corrections, follow the advice that I've been giving you in these classes, and you will improve your band scores, I promise you. Remember, students, that you have free student partner speaking with video or audio on our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS and glshelp.com for general IELTS. So definitely check us out there. If you like what you see, I highly recommend using our premium package. It's worth investing that few dollars. You'll build your communication, you'll build your English, you'll do better in the IELTS, and you'll likely do much better in other aspects of life like school and work as well. So highly, highly recommend it. That's it for me for today. I will be back on Wednesday at the same time, so 15 o'clock Central European Standard Time with Speaking Part 1. I appreciate everybody's contributions. Goodbye, Karamjeet. You're very welcome. Sunny, Hassan, Rajveer, you're welcome. Always wonderful to see your contributions in the class. I'm Adrian, and I'm signing out from Budapest for now. Much love to all of you wherever you are in the world. Take care. Goodbye.